السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we are gathered here. The motive is to revive the basics of Islam, revive our basics such as Ghusl, Wuzu, Salah. So therefore, the key to Salah is purification. Alright? Now, wudu is the key to salah. Now, what is the key? If you do not have your wudu, you can't read your salah. And if you can't read your salah, you will not attain Jannah. This is the hadith. So now, before we come to wudu, what is necessary for us to know is about ghusl. How do we bath? Now, I will start with the farais of ghusl. There are three farais of ghusl. Farais means compulsory acts in ghusl. Now, if any one of these acts are not fulfilled, your ghusl is not complete. And if your ghusl is not complete, you are napak, you are impure, and you cannot do any action. So therefore, the three farais, the three compulsory acts. The first one is to wash the body from the head to the toe. To wash the body from the head to the toe. Now, that means that every single strand of hair should be flowed with water on your body. Now, if you are lazy in the morning to raise up your hand and even get the water under your arms, if you do not get it there, your ghusl will not be complete. If your ghusl not complete, nothing else can be accepted. So that is the first farai. The second farai, the second compulsory act, which is very important, is that most of the people forget, and most of the youth, when they face such circumstances, is to gargle your mouth. Now, gargle your mouth does not mean you take the water, put it in your mouth, spit it out again. Make sure when you are gargling your mouth, it reaches your throat and every part of your mouth has flowed with water. Are we together till here? Do we understand? This is the second farai. The third farai of ghusl is to rinse your nose. Now that does not mean you just put the water to your nose and don't let it go up. It is supposed to reach your bone here. You have to snip the water up till your nose here. And then you take it out. That will clean your nose. And that will clean all whatever mucus you have in your nose will be cleaned through that. So this is the wisdom of ghusl. Now, few youngsters, what happens is that they do not worry about the two other farais. They only have a bath in the morning. It is so difficult for them to rinse their mouth and nose. If you have a bath, if you wake up in the morning, you don't do the proper ghusl. What you do is you just have a bath, you soak your body. If you just have to gargle your mouth and nose and your intention is not even there, your ghusl is going to be complete. Whether your intention is there or not. Now coming to wuzu, if you had a bath and you did not make wuzu, can you read your salah or do you have to make wuzu? If you had a bath and the farais of wuzu are completed, the compulsory acts of wuzu are completed, then you don't have to make wuzu again. After having a bath, you can go straight on the musalla and read your salah. There's no need of making wudu. So I will come to the compulsory acts of wudu after we complete ghusl. Now, these are the three farais. Now the method of ghusl, how do you perform ghusl? What is the sunnah method of performing ghusl? First of all, if you are impure, you remove the impurities. Now if the impurities, if you are married or you are unmarried, I will give the circumstances of how the ghusl breaks. But if you are impure, first you remove the impurity on your private part. After removing the impurity, you will make wudu or you make wudu in salah. Now I'm giving you the sunnah method. After you make that wudu, you will wash the right side of your body and then the left side of your body. And then all of us have showers in the homes. If we are bathing with a bucket, then you put water over your right shoulder 3 times and then over the left shoulder and then in between the body you put the water 3 times. So you have covered your whole body. Now, this is the sunnah method. But if you do not follow this method and you just make ghusl with the intention of just fulfilling the 3 farais, your ghusl is still complete. It does not mean that I did not make wudu so my ghusl is not complete. Your ghusl will still be complete. Now, what are the things which break your ghusl? What things break your ghusl? There's only 5 things which break your ghusl. Now, out of those 5 things, I'm pretty sure and I'm 100% sure with all the youth sitting here that only 3 are involved in the men here. Those 2 you will understand why I said this. They are not for us, they are for ladies when I will come to the explanation. Coming to the first one, you have to understand the amount of liquids which come out from your private part at first. There's 3 types of liquids which come out. There's mani, there's mazi and there's wadi. Besides urine, there's three things which come out. Now what is madhi? Madhi is when you get lust and the pre-spermatic fluid, which is transparent in color. If that has to come out, it does not break your ghusl, it only breaks your wudu. The youngsters will know that due to their experience. Coming to the explanation of wadi, that is madhi. It only breaks your wudu. Wadi is something which comes out after you have urinated or before you have urinated. It's some substance which is a little bit, it is not as liquid but it's a little bit hard. If that comes out, that also breaks your wudu, not your ghusl. Now the third one is mani, the spermatic fluid. That breaks your ghusl. Now when does it break your ghusl? If it comes out with lust. If it comes out with lust, coming to the point of masturbation, it is haram. Do not feel that it is permissible. Why is it haram? The hadith says that the person who masturbates on the day of Qiyamah, he will have to give life to the spermatic fluid which came out through this action. And tell me which one of us will be able to give life to that spermatic fluid which has come out, which we have forcefully taken out. So therefore, it is haram, and the sin is that on the day of Qiyamah you will have to give it life. Now, sometimes this spermatic fluid can come out due to picking up heavy things. If you have to pick up something heavy, that will not break your ghusl. That will only, that is the means of breaking your wudu, because it did not come out with lust. So if it comes out with lust, that is with what will break your wudu. Now what if it was coming out and you held it back? You did not let it come out. In that instance, if you held it back, what happens is whenever it will come out, because once it has been removed from the back, the origin of the spermatic fluid is at the back. Once it will leave that place and come to the front, it will come out, whether you stop it or not, later. But whenever it will come out, that will make ghusl farz upon you, and you will have to perform your ghusl. If you had a bath already, after being impure, you had a bath. Now after finishing your bath, you read your salah. After you read your salah, you saw that the spermatic fluid still came out. So what do you do in that instance? Ghusl becomes farz upon you again. So what is the preferred method? That if you had intercourse, if you did anything where your spermatic fluid came out, you go to the toilet first. After you go to the toilet, you will urinate. Whatever remains there are, those remains will come out. And then you have a ghusl, so there's no possibility of it coming out later. Now that is the first part which will break your wudu. Just ask them to, just a little bit of silence.
Adam, this voice is low.
No.
This voice is low.
Right. Now this is the first part, when the spermatic fluid comes out with lust. The second part is the youth. You will see that when you come to the age of maturity, that we've covered the first one, the spermatic fluid with lust. The second is if you have a wet dream. If you have this, when you are sleeping and you see that when you wake up. Now there's a few instances which take place in this. If you remember that you had a wet dream, but there is no wetness, if you think to yourself that you saw something satanic, if you saw something where shaitan was troubling you, but when you woke up there was no wetness, that means that ghusl does not become farz upon you, because there's nothing there. That is the first instance. The second instance, if you slept and you are feeling the lust, and your private part was erect, in that instance, when you woke up, you saw the wetness and you are sure that it is spermatic fluid, but you cannot remember the dream. Are we together? You saw the spermatic fluid, but you can't remember the dream. In that instance, whether you had it or not, sometimes you don't see the dream, but you still see the spermatic fluid. Ghusl will become farz upon you, and you have to perform ghusl. If you had a dream and just before you could ejaculate, you held your private part that it did not come out, it came out slowly, then still ghusl will become farz. You have to perform ghusl, as I mentioned the faraiz of ghusl. The third, if in the state of namaz, your private part was erect, you could feel the spermatic fluid come out, but before it could come, you finished your salah. Thereafter it came out, then namaz is accepted. Allah forbid, today we read salah, where our thoughts are, we don't know, we think of such evil things in our salah as well. May Almighty Allah guide us. But if it happens that way, the spermatic fluid did not come out while you are reading your salah, it only came after you finished your salah, then your salah is accepted, but ghusl will still become farz upon you. Now, this is not the instance with men also. Women also face this wet dream, and they also have these, they go through this case as well. But we do not need to elaborate on that because I don't think any one of us need that explanation. Coming to when does a boy become matured? You see, from the age of 12, there's a possibility where the boy, whenever a boy experiences this dream for the first time, from that time he is matured and namaz is first, and he will be accountable for every salah he misses. If he misses a salah, he will be accountable for that. So, if you had a dream at the age of 12, namaz is first upon you from that age. At the age of 13, it becomes first. But if you did not get it till the age of 15, then 15 is the deadline. From 15, whether you had it or not, namaz is first upon you. There's no excuse for missing your salah. The third part is for the second part was for the youth who are not married. Now coming to the third part, which is the last part which breaks your ghusl. This is more for the people who are married. If you see that the glance of your private part, in the slang you will say the glance, to make it easier for your understanding, and the youth knows this word very well, the knob. You know that word very well. So just for your understanding, if the glance has to enter the private part of a woman, or if it has to enter the back private part, or if it has to enter the back private part of a man, which is haram, do not think that I'm saying it so now it is permissible. If it has to enter that amount, the glance of your private part, whether you ejaculated or not, ghusl becomes farz. Do not think that I did not ejaculate, so ghusl is not farz upon me. It becomes farz whether it happened or not. Now what if this was an instance where you don't have a glance? Then the equivalent amount to the glance, if it has to enter, that makes ghusl farz upon you. Coming to the second part, if ejaculation, or if you had intercourse on the thighs of your wife, or in this case, which is not preferred to do, and the spermatic fluid went into the woman's private part, in that instance, ghusl becomes farz upon the man, and the woman, it will become farz if it went inside. Are we together? Are we together till here? So the person who is doing and the person who is getting done, ghusl becomes farz upon both of them. The fourth part is where it's after the ghusl, the remaining, you performed your ghusl, then the remaining spermatic fluid came out. Then ghusl does not break, wudu breaks. But now there's a difference, whether you went to urinate or not. But the preferred method is that if it came out after your ghusl, then ghusl will become farz upon you again. So these are the only three things. Now why I am talking of this is that the youth do not know that what breaks their ghusl. They think to themselves that I used the private toilet, the public toilet, and I was standing and urinating, so ghusl is farz upon me. Now I must go and have a bath. So ghusl does not become farz on that. The fourth instance, which I'm sure, as I said, is not valid for all the youth sitting here, is the menstrual course which the lady goes through on a monthly period. She goes through that course. Now she has to have ghusl after that, and a woman also bleeds after giving birth to a child for 40 days. So till those 40 days, after those 40 days, she will have to perform ghusl, and that is when she will become pure. So these are the only 5 things which make your ghusl farz. Now there are a few other instances where ghusl is preferred to be made, and you must make ghusl. Like for example, on the day of Friday, ghusl is sunnah. On the day of Eid, ghusl is sunnah. Now if you give the ghusl to the mayyit, then in that instance, ghusl is also sunnah, that you will go and have a bath yourself after giving a bath to the mayyit. The third is that when a non-Muslim accepts Islam, he must perform ghusl to be purified and to complete any actions of his salah or any fundamentals of Islam. Now what can you not do when you are napak, when you are impure, which is very important. You cannot read the Quran with the intention of recitation. If you are napak, you cannot read the Quran with the intention of recitation. You say, I'm feeling to read this Quran, I'm a hafiz, I can read. You cannot read. You cannot touch the Quran. You cannot perform tawaf. You cannot go into the masjid. And you cannot even touch the Quran, the cover of the Quran. When you can't recite it, it is pretty obvious that you can't even touch the Quran. You cannot, coming to the instance of reading, like for example, if you are napak and you want to read a dua, for example, you want to read the dua before eating, you can eat if you are napak. So if you read Bismillah wa ala barakatullah with the intention that you are reading it to complete the sunnah of that dua, then it is permissible. But the intention of recitation is not allowed while you are impure. I will simplify this to these points. I will not elaborate more. If we have any questions in regard to ghusl before I come to wudu, or we want to stop at the instance of ghusl, then we can terminate here. We will not go further to wudu. Maybe this is too much for us to take home. Then I will not continue. But if before I go to wudu, any of the youth or anyone has a question, you are free to ask. This is your... Ji. Yes. No, it is... If you are performing your wudu while you are bathing, if you are doing the sunnah method of bathing, then surely while making wudu you are going to gargle your mouth and your nose. But it is preferred that you do it at that same time. Now, it brings me to in a scenario where you forgot. After you made ghusl, you went to work, you remembered, today I had to have ghusl, but I did not gargle my mouth and clean my nose. What do I do? As soon as you remembered, gargle your mouth and clean your nose, your ghusl will be complete, you can complete the acts. Even after the whole of your body is dry. This is according to the Hanafi madhab. We are all Hanafi madhab here. So that is according to our...
Another question was cleaning while making ghusl, you clean your belly button. Where does that go?
You see, while making ghusl, the belly button as well, it is necessary that you put your finger and clean it as well. Very good point. Because if the water does not reach there, I mentioned to you that you have to make sure that the water reaches everywhere. So if it didn't reach there, then that place will be left and your ghusl will not be complete. Also your ears, make sure that the inner part of your ears is also, the water has flowed, so then that is also complete. Yes, every single strand of your hair, the smallest part on your body, as far as that water should be flowed. That is ghusl. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, if you had a wet dream, your thighs and everything may be impure, but it does not make your feet impure or your hands impure. But what is sunnah? The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is when you wake up, the first thing you do is wash your hands, because while sleeping you don't know where your hands went, what you did while you were sleeping. So if you have to wake up and put your hand in a cup of water or the bucket of water, that water becomes napa, because you are not sure where your hand went. Yes, you can eat, and during also when you say eating, I mean eating in the sense of intercourse as well. If you have had one round of intercourse and you are desiring to have another round, in that instance you do not have to make ghusl again and then go again. The sunnah method is that you go and make wudu between. Now why do you make wudu? What is the wisdom? You don't make wudu, remember this very clear. After one round you go and make wudu. When you come back, when you are making wudu, the intention is that you are making wudu with the intention of strength. With the intention of strength, the married people will know what I mean. With the intention of strength and not with the intention of becoming pure. Because you can't become pure with wudu. You'll have to make ghusl. So you have to make the intention of strength.
Obviously, having intercourse after your marriage.
Before your marriage it is haram, and it is the most severe sin a person can commit is zina. Now zina does not mean that kissing is permissible, touching is permissible, or even placing your fingers is permissible. All this is haram and it is regarded as zina. Also looking at a woman, now this is for the married people. But what happens, Malawi, it has come to such an extent that the women do not wear the scarf, do not wear the parda. Now let me give you the wisdom. What does aurat mean? In Urdu, what the word for woman in Urdu is what? Aurat, right? In Arabic, aurat means something which is supposed to be hidden. Now tell me, you as the youth, when you see someone's wife, you think that she's hot. Do you not look at her? You look at her. You are committing zina of the eyes. You are getting a sin by looking at her. But now if the woman is covered, now think that that woman is your pleasure in the bed. She's your pleasure in the room. Why should other people look at it and think about other things and get their minds into other dimensions? She's your woman. She's supposed to be your privacy. So this is the wisdom behind the parda. And the Quran says that, O Nabi, Qul ya ayyuhan Nabiyyu, that tell the woman to place a cloth on their faces. This is where the ruling of parda comes in, and that is why you will try and think to yourself, looking at the eyes, that what is inside there, but you will never be able to guess. Because what is inside there is hidden. So to an extent, some women who are so pious, they also wear gloves. That sometimes if the youth have to see the color of the hand, they will say, "Bo dhori hai, andar mein grow." So some women also wear socks. Some women also wear a net on top of the eyes that they can't even see the eyes. So this is to an extent of piety. But covering the hair for a woman is fard and compulsory. Scarf is compulsory.
Why I asked you was things done.
Ji.
Right? When you go at night.
Ji.
And you don't like Ghusl.
Ji.
How would fasting come?
This was a question arise with the age group of 40 to 50. Those people were asking me that, Maulana, what happened if I had sexual intercourse in the night? I slept away. I did not have a ghusl. I ate my seher. I didn't even wake up for sehri. I missed my fajr. Is my fast valid? Your fast is valid. But remember that missing one namaz, only one namaz deliberately, it is more severe and more worse than committing zina. Just one namaz deliberately. It is worse than committing zina, adultery with a woman. But that does not mean that adultery is now minor. But it is, adultery is also severe, and more severe than that is missing your namaz. So your fast will remain valid. Your fast will remain valid, but you have committed something which is haram. Now you must know, in Ramadan, the amount of good deeds you get, there is more sin for whatever you are committing in the month of Ramadan as well. Do not think that now 1:700, so that means that now if I have to commit a sin, there's no sin for that in Ramadan. The sins are also severe. Any more questions? Ji. Yes. Okay, very good question. Very good question for the youth. What if a person urinates while standing and few drops of urine have to touch the body? What does he do? In that case, the preferred method is that you sit and you sit and you urinate, but it is against the sunnah to stand up and urinate. Now, if few drops came on your body, make sure that you flow water on that body, and after a body part, if you flow water on that part, you are passed. You do not have to perform ghusl. You are not napa.
Okay, then make you fast. What is the azab of the urine that you put?
The azab of the urine, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was passing by a grave, and he saw that those people were they were getting punishment in the grave. So then he realized that those people were getting punished due to them not saving themselves from the drops of urine touching the body. And also when you go in the toilet, when you go for number 2 in the toilet, do not look at what you've dropped inside and feel like a man that have dropped a big blob today, because when you have to go to the toilet and if you look at your waist, it brings the sickness of forgetting. You start forgetting. Now don't try and implement it on someone. We don't need to say all that. Let us keep our comments reserved to ourselves.
Even while standing, looking down, I got the problem to make cheap. But when I get up, when I put on my trousers, I want to put my boxes and all that. But then I get the feeling that I've got another drop again in my boxes.
Okay, one second. Brothers, there's a very good question that some people, when they go to urinate, after they have urinated and cleaned themselves, what happens is they think to themselves that I think one drop came out of urine. Now that is something where shaitan is disturbing you. The hadith says that shaitan is bringing the waswasa and telling you that no, a drop of urine comes. So what is the cure to that? After you urinated, on your boxer short or your brief, you splash water. So when you splash water, it will automatically bring that attention that now you don't have any misconception. And if one drop comes out and touches your boxer short, that does not make your clothes napak. What makes your clothes napak is the size of a dirham. Now not the dirhams we get today. If you look at this palm, the area which is engraved in the hand, that amount of thing which if it has to touch your clothes to that extent, then you are napak. Your clothes are napak. That does not make you napak, it makes your clothes napak. What makes you napak is, that is why I explained that a lot of people have a misconception, look at napak, I have to have a bath. No, that's not the case. If your clothes are napak, just change your clothes. You carry on with your whatever you want to do. Ji. Yeah. Yes. In that case, if the urine has touched the clothes, if the urine touches the clothes and we are traveling and we do not have time to change our clothes. Now if the urine touches and it is very little, 1-2 drops, put water and scrub it with your hand. After scrubbing it, it will become part again and you can read your salah. Right, perfume in namaz, right? There's a spray which doesn't have alcohol, is the Playboy spray, the deodorant. I have read the ingredients, it does not have any alcohol. I don't know if any one of you have seen it, but I have seen it with my own eyes. Coming to the alcohol part, the preferred and the better method, and the scholars have said that do not use perfume which has alcohol and read your salah. That is better on your clothes or your body. Do not put it. There's a lot of other non-alcoholic perfumes such as the MUM, the mum sprays. They do not even have alcohol and they write them non-alcoholic. So use such sprays. You don't need to use. If you're going on a date, you want to use the expensive sprays and make your fiancé or your wife happy that you're smelling good. What is smell going to do?
Ghusl valid.
No,
you have put alcohol perfume and Ghusl. It's valid.
Ghusl, it does not break your Ghusl.
It does not.
Because it depends on, you see, the ruling is that alcohol is denaturalized. The alcohol which is in the perfumes is denaturalized. It is not the same alcohol which is consumed. If you have to take the spray and consume it, it will not intoxicate you. It will not give you the nasha. So the preferred method, and to keep your heart clean, don't use such sprays which are giving a doubt. The hadith says, "Ijtanibu mawadi' al-fitan." Stay away from mischief, stay away from the places of mischief, stay away from that. It will be better for us.